How's it, everybody? Welcome to the video. Today I'm going to be showing you 12 different drills that you can do at home by yourself or with a partner. What's most important about these drills is that you perform these drills utilizing your imagination and just visualizing what it is your opponent will be doing as you're performing these drills. Just so you know, I'll be doing these drills on my 6x6 mat. It's not too much space, but I'll be doing what I can. Also, I live on the second floor apartment, so I'm going to try to land as light as possible. That way I don't disturb the tenant below us. So that being said, we'll get started with the bridge. So I'm going to bridge to my left. In order for me to bridge to my left, I'm going to keep my elbows in and I got to adjust my feet. Now with my right leg, I'm going to keep it flat, and my left leg is going to be pointing in the direction that I'm going, because I said I'll be going to my left here. Once you bridge, you're going to apply force to your legs. You can lift your hips up, and I'm going to be balancing on my feet and my shoulders, like this. Now once I'm this way, you want to make sure that your shoulders are at least vertical. If not, your top shoulder is over the bottom shoulder. If it's not and it's behind here, you're going to be fighting the force of your opponent driving back into you. So again, you want to have it at least vertical, or if not, a little bit more. From here, I'm going to transfer the weight from my feet down to this knee here, and I'm going to take the weight off of this leg, transfer it to this driving leg here, so that way I can come up and over and end up in the inside the person's guard. Now from this side, elbows in, adjust my feet, flat, angled. I'm going to bridge over my shoulder. I'm going to look at the same time. Balance on the feet and the shoulder. Make sure my shoulders are at least vertical. From here, weight onto the knee, drive with the bottom leg, so that way I can come up and over. The main purpose of the drill is to end up from the bottom position up onto guard or on your knees in someone's guard. The second drill that we're going to work on is going to be the bridge escape. This is something that you perform when you're on bottom side control. So it's very similar to the bridge. However, with this position, we're going to, instead of ending up in guard, we're going to try to end up going for a single leg or taking the person's back. So what I mean by that is, like I said, we have bottom side control. Okay, you can perform this in two ways. At least with your hands, it'll be two different ways. You can just do basic arms in, or if you want, you can imagine that you have a partner, and that you're going to frame along the hip, and then you're going to dig for an underhook on the far side armpit. Okay, now from here, we're going to set our feet. So outside foot close to your butt, inside foot is going to point in the angle that we're going. Okay? And we're going to bridge and come up onto our shoulder. Once we bridge, this hand here that has that underhook is going to push all the way up to get the person off of our chest. Okay, once we're here, we're going to switch our base. So from here, we're going to scissor our feet this way. Our hands are going to snake down to the leg, and we're going to grab here. Now I'm going to drive with my feet to come up, and I'm going to pull for that single leg here. That way I can end up going for a single leg, or I can end up here and do a sit out to come and take the person's back. Now from this angle, we're going to frame on the person's hip. We're going to dig for an underhook on the far side. We're going to adjust our feet, boom and boom. Okay, and then we're going to bridge. And when we bridge, we're going to go into a make our shoulders vertical, as well as throw this arm over to get them off our chest here. Boom. Alright? So now once we're here, we're going to switch our base this way, almost like a scissoring motion. We're going to snake our hands down and go for a single leg here. I'm going to drive with my feet to come up. Again, from here, I can either pull for that single leg, or I can sit out and take the person's back. And that's going to be your bridge escape. Alright, so the next moves that we're going to work on are going to be different variations of a shrimp. We'll be working on 4. The first type of shrimp that we're going to look at is going to be your big shrimp. The reason why it's called a big shrimp is because this is the first movement that or the first type of shrimp that you're going to perform when you're doing a mount escape. When it comes to performing the big shrimp, it's going to look very similar to the bridge. Keep your arms in, okay, elbows nice and tight. You're going to adjust your feet, 1 and 2. Once we perform the bridge, we're going to come up. Okay, I'm on the shoulder again, nice and vertical. What I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to be balancing on 2 points, my shoulder and my outside leg. From here, I'm going to scoot my butt out ever so slightly just so I can pull this leg through. Okay, so I'm going to come up here. What I'm pulling it through is I'm pulling it through my arms. That way it mimics me pushing down or framing across somebody's hips and legs and bringing my knee through the hands. And then I'll be coming all the way over. And I'll end up on the other side. Now again on this side, okay, elbows tight, feet. We're going to bridge, and we're going to shrimp our butt back. Okay, see how high my hips come off the ground? This leg is nice and loose, so I can bring it all the way through, push it, and rotate to the other side. On this angle, elbows in, adjust your feet. You're going to turn and bridge. I'm going to balance on this foot. Here, scoot back. While I scoot back, bottom leg is coming through the hole. And that's going to be your big shrimp. Now what follows the big shrimp is going to be the sliding shrimp. So with the sliding shrimp, this is something you're going to perform after you do your first big shrimp, at least when you're going for a mount escape. Okay, your feet are going to be very similar, but now your leg that you're putting the pressure on, it's going to be more outwards here. Instead of just coming straight to the butt, we're going to the outside. The reason for this is because we want to be able to get at a 90-degree angle with our body. Okay, so from here, elbows tight. I'm going to come onto my shoulder. I'm going to bridge and slide my butt back. You can see that I went from being in a straight line. Now I come to the 90-degree angle here. And I just slid my butt backwards. Okay, from here, I bring this leg back up. Rotate to the other side. Leg comes out. Elbows tight. I bridge, and then I slide my butt back for the sliding shrimp. Now in this direction here, okay, elbows tight. Bring my leg out. I'm going to bridge, turn. Again, shoulders come over. I'm going to slide my butt back so that I end up in a 90-degree angle. From here, I bring the bottom leg up, rotate to the other side here. Again, outside leg, elbows in nice and tight. Then I shrimp, sliding my butt backwards. And that's going to be your sliding shrimp. The next shrimp we're going to work on is going to be the complete opposite. It's called the reverse shrimp. With the reverse shrimp, we'll be, instead of moving backwards, we'll be moving forward. So in this direction here, I'll be on my back and I'm going to work my way towards the camera. Elbows in nice and tight. I'm going to rotate over. I'm going to reach out with my bottom leg. Now with the bottom leg, I'm going to use that to pull my butt to my foot here. Boom. Okay. Now I'm going to rotate just so you can see. Now I go to my side, I reach out with my bottom leg, and I use that to pull my butt to that foot. In this direction here, elbows nice and tight, rotate to my shoulder, reach out with my bottom leg. I pull my butt to that foot. Now I'll be able to rotate this way. Once I rotate, bottom leg reaches out. I use that to pull my butt to my foot. That'll be your reverse shrimp. Now the last type of shrimp that we'll be working on is going to be a seated shrimp or a butt scoop. So when it comes to a seated shrimp, you'll be utilizing your hands for posting as well as your feet. When it comes to using a single hand to maneuver, you can use this. when you're moving forward, backwards, or sidewards, whichever way needed in order to maintain that distance and maintain your opponent right in front of you. Okay, to do that, if I'm gonna be leaning to my right hand's gonna go down and my left leg is gonna be posted here. With my left hand, I'll use that to post onto the opponent. If they're coming too close, I'll post on them and then scoot away. Now when it comes to the motion of scooting, I'm going to post on the hand. I'm going to use my feet to push me into the direction that I want to go. All while keeping this hand up. If I don't keep this hand up and away from my elbow like this, then there's a chance that they can break through my guard here. If I wanted to scoot forward towards the camera, I'll push with my arm that's posting, and I'll reach out with my legs to scoot forward here. Alright? So if I want to move backwards, reach and post. Boom. Reach and push. If I want to rotate, all I do is just rotate to the other side. Just mirror. It's just going to be a mirror image of what I just did. When you utilize the two-handed butt scoot, you want to utilize it when you need to create a lot of distance as soon as possible. Say the opponent is charging after me or just coming after me very, very quickly. That's when I'll be able to scoot back and create a lot of distance in one smooth motion versus having to do this a couple times. So the next drill that we'll be working on is going to be windshield wiper, and this is something that you'll be utilizing your legs for. When doing this motion, this windshield wiper motion, this is something that you're going to be doing on your back, and you'll be making big circles with your feet. What you're aiming to do is to incorporate your feet, your knees, and your hips. The more active you are, the more that you're going to incorporate your hips. And you can rotate inwards and outwards. Now when it comes to using this motion in a roll, a lot of times you're just going to be using one leg. For example, if you're playing open guard and your opponent decides to go for an underpass under one leg here, what you would end up doing is you would shrimp out and you would windshield wiper that leg underneath their arm, so that way you can get them back into your guard. If you have a partner, that's something that you can drill, having them go under one leg for a guard pass. You'll shrimp, you'll do the windshield wiper as a guard recovery, and come back. In addition to the windshield wiper for guard recovery, is going to be a crossover guard recovery. So with the crossover guard recovery, what we're working on is maintaining the opponent from passing our guard here. Initially, you'll end up wanting to post on our opponent. We're going to turn to face them, and this leg, your outside leg, is going to come over and post somewhere on their body. Whether it's going to be their shoulder or their torso. Once you do this, you're going to apply pressure to kind of like shrimp again. But when you're making this motion, your bottom leg comes through the hole, so that way you can reguard your opponent. Okay, now we're going to imagine that they came this way to my left. I'm going to rotate, I'm going to frame. Okay, this outside leg now comes over, and I apply force, so that way I can end up being square with the opponent. Now what's going to be similar to the crossover guard recovery is going to be your north-south guard recovery. With a north-south guard recovery, you're going to end up on you're going to start off on your back, and then instead of crossing over this way to like a 90-degree angle, I'm going to go all the way up, almost in a straight line. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my left leg straight as I come over, as I rock over like a rocking chair, and I'm going to apply put my toes onto the mat, and then from there I'm going to do the same motion to recover my guard by pulling my right knee under my left leg to get my guard again. So from here, okay, I'll rock back, left leg straight, post on the mat, then I come underneath, go for that guard recovery. Now, same thing on the other side. I'm going to keep my right leg straight, keep my left leg bent, so So that way once I post my right leg onto the mat, I'll bring my left leg underneath. So the 10th drill that we're going to work on is going to be a sit-out. I did mention the sit-out earlier when I was explaining the bridge escape. With the sit-out, you use the sit-out when you are trying to recover from a single leg or a double leg takedown and your opponent ended up sprawling on top of you. So we're here in our turtle position. First step, come onto your hands. Second step, pick the side that you're going to. I'm going to go to my right. So I'm going to step out with my right leg. The third step incorporates a lot of movements. It's going to be that baseball slide, that high elbow, as well as looking up and chest out. Boom. Okay, from here, I'm going to go and either go for the back take or a single leg, but I'll perform the back take. From here, I'm going to apply pressure on this leg, so that way I can come up and pivot onto my left knee here. And step over and get their hips for a back take. With the turtle position, you start on your knees and elbows. You want to get off your elbows onto your hands, so that way you can have a nice, powerful sit-out. Then you want to pick the direction that you're going. I'm going to go to my left, so I'll step out with my left leg. I'm going to incorporate a lot of movements by doing a baseball slide through with my bottom leg here. I'm going to look up, and I'm going to do a high elbow motion with my left elbow, so that way I can push them off of my back. Boom. Once I do that, I'm going to push on my left leg, and I'm going to pivot on my right knee, so that way I can come over and take our opponent's back. And that's going to be the sit-out. The last couple moves that we'll be working on is going to be from the turtle position again, but the first one's going to be a shoulder roll. But we're going to perform this imagining that our opponent is on our side. Maybe they have a grip on their hips, but they don't have like a seatbelt grip, or they don't have a closed grip somewhere. I'll pretend that my opponent's on my right side and they have their left hand attached to my left hip here. Alright, so what I'm going to do, pick the side that I'm going on, so because he's on my right, I'm going to roll over my right shoulder. The first thing that I'll do is I'm going to pivot my feet. So right now they're square, but because I want to go to my right, I want to push myself to my right by having my feet go and pivot to my left. Kind of like a windshield wiper motion to my left. Okay, and from here, once I have my feet adjusted, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to drop to my shoulder, my right shoulder, and I'm going to apply that force to push my body over here. I'm still imagining they're on my right side, so I'm on my in my turtle position. First thing that you do is to adjust your feet. Okay, so I windshield wiper to my left, so I can push and move to my right. Before I push, I gotta drop my shoulder here, and then now I'll be able to apply force and that pressure to come and rotate over. Now, what I'd like to do, or that I'll attempt to do, is to do the Granby roll from the turtle position. With a Granby roll, it's going to be a little different. With a Granby roll, you can perform this if your opponent has a closed grip on your hips. With the Granby roll, you're using this to apply a little bit more pressure and gain more space than you would with a shoulder roll, so that way you can end up in a neutral position. So from the turtle position, I'm going to come up onto my hands, and now I'm going to come up onto my feet here into a tripod. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a step out so I can create some space, and then I'm going to take my next step is going to come in this way here, like an inside cross step. The reason for doing that inside cross step is to prevent your opponent from standing up with you and getting their hooks on this side. So again, I'm here, come up to my hands, come up to my feet, tripod, step out, cross step. Now from here, this is when I'll drop to my shoulder, I'll roll over my shoulders and end up with more distance away from my opponent. So off camera, that's what my feet are going to be doing. So I'm here in my turtle position, come up to my hands, I tripod, I do a side step, and then I cross step. Once I do the cross step, that's when I'll be able to drop onto my shoulders and roll and come back up. I'm in my turtle position here. I pop up onto my hands, I tripod on my feet, I take a step out to the side, I cross step inside here, then I'm going to roll over my shoulders and come back up. A lot of the times with the Granby roll, in schools it's drilled where you tuck your head into your feet, you're posting out this way, and you're walking over like that. That shoulder rolling movement across the shoulders is what you're going to do with the Granby roll once you drop that shoulder and go over. So those are going to be the different drills that you can work on at home by yourself, or again if you have a partner, then definitely utilize them. The biggest thing if you're doing this by yourself is to imagine what your partner is doing as you're performing these drills. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, please comment down below or shoot me a message. I'll do what I can to help you out. If you like the material, definitely subscribe, like the video, and good training.